Good morning, everyone. Buenos días para mi gente que habla español. As you know, I'm Vilma Martinez Dominguez, and I'm the Executive Director and CEO for Greater Lawrence Community Action Council, also known as GLCAC or GLAC, lovingly. Before I start, I just wanted to say, on behalf of GLCAC, we extend our sorrow to the 20 families, residents, families, households that were displaced by the heartbreaking fire that just happened on Tuesday here. He has really mobilized our community, and that's what we do best. And so to those families who will be tuning in, we're here, and we're here united to support you. We also express our deep gratitude to the firefighters. I know that it wasn't just Lawrence, it was various firefighters, communities who came, whose actions ensure the safety of everyone's affected. So just wanted to mention that. So welcome everyone to our beautiful city of Lawrence. Love my city. Thank you for being here with us today. Both the folks in the room as well as those who are tuning in via live stream. We're honored to be joined by Congresswoman Lori Trahan and other public officials. Here today we have Marina Costa, who's a district director for Senator Pavel Payano, who's a fighter for our agency and everything within his constituency. And also Nick Orellana. Yeah, I knew I had seen you. Nick Orellana from Andy Vargas, State Representative Andy Vargas' office. Welcome both. We're also so fortunate to have you represent our communities in Washington, on Beacon Hill, and in the city halls and town halls that are within this district. GLCAC is honored to host this event in partnership with our state association, MassCap. We are joined by Joe Diamond, Executive Director of MassCap, and Pam Kuchler, who's the MassCap President and Executive Director of People Acting in Community Endeavors. Thank you, Pam, for being here. As well as the MassCap staff, we have Isabella Dickens-Bowman here. Thank you so very much for being here. We'll hear from Joe later in the program, as well as from my fellow Merrimack Valley Executive Directors and powerhouses, Carrie Perry of Community Action Inc. in Haverhill, and Carl Howell, Community Teamwork in Lowell. We're here today because now more than ever, we need to protect the programs that protect our communities. We need to protect our community action. The White House has proposed eliminating the Community Service Block Grant, or CSBG, as we call it. The backbone of community action is a big part of our identity as community actions. While the Senate has shown its support, our nationwide network still faces the greatest threat of our 60-year history. Not many recognize that CSBG program by name, but at $770 million, it is relatively small by federal standards. Yet across the country, millions of people depend on us to survive. GLCAC serves over 34,000 people in our communities. And I'm pretty sure you hear from Haverhill and from Lowell how many people our programs reach. CSBG is the glue that binds us together, anti-poverty solutions at the local level. That's it. It's literally part of our strong identity. Programs like Fuel Assistance, Head Start, and WIC are usually operated by community action agencies, like the ones represented here today. Here in Greater Lawrence, the need is staggering. Over 56,000 people live in poverty. I want to say that again. Over 56 people live in poverty. At GLCAC, these funds help us keep people housed, fed, and warm, while also supporting financial stability through workforce development, English classes, financial empowerment, and many more programs. Last year, we directly served over 2,700 people with the $381,000 that we received in CSBG funds. This is pretty affordable considering that at a cost of just $72 per client. It's talking about cost effective and rate of return. So CSBG is an incredibly powerful investment. So it's not only a part of our identity, but it's also an amazing investment in our communities. Through community action, the entire community prospers. Each time a family avoids eviction with our support, We alleviate the strain on our hospitals and shelter system. Each VITA client tax return yields more local spending power, and each new English speaker strengthens our workforce. Our communities rely on CSBG. So again, this is a call to action. I urge you, protect the programs that protect our communities. Protect community action. Thank you. And we can all stand here and talk about the work that we do, but it's not until you hear from someone who has received our services and about the impact that we've had in their lives when you actually understand why this is important. We're fortunate to hear now from Michelle, a former GLCAC program participant and current staff member, who will share how community action has changed her life. We're very proud of her and grateful for the gift of her story. Michelle, welcome and thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle, and I'm glad to be here today to share a little bit about my journey and the impact GLCAC has had on my life. My journey with the agency began in 2023 when I joined as a volunteer in the adult learning program at GLCAC. At the time, I was new to the country and lacked some of the skills and experience needed to prepare for a professional environment. I only had a high school diploma and a certification from a short-term English immersion program I had completed in my home country. Volunteering gave me the opportunity to grow and develop in areas where I previously felt limited. An example of that is that I learned how to use computer programs like Excel, Word, and also I learned how to use a student database, which I had never used before. I also improved my ability in customer service and other administrative skills. While volunteering during the day, I also worked in a mini supermarket from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. It was a busy and exhausting time, but I was determined to keep moving forward. Although I have some knowledge of English, I was feeling uncomfortable speaking it. The adult learning program staff encouraged me to enroll in their ESOL classes. I decided to join because I had recently moved to a town with many Spanish speakers, and I knew it would be harder for me to improve my English if I didn't make an effort to practice. Through these classes and the staff support, my confidence grew significantly, and now I feel much more comfortable expressing myself independently. Later that same year, the program encouraged me to apply for an open position in another department. The team also helped me apply and make my resume too. I was offered the entry-level position known as I was like a receptionist and GLCAC field assistant program. At first, I was nervous about speaking English in a job that required direct client interaction, but I overcame that fear and now I communicate with confidence. This role gave me valuable experience and a deeper understanding of the important work being done to support families in need. In 2024, I was offered a 2-month paid internship with the adult learning program while continuing to work in the field assistant and attend ESOL classes. These combined experiences led to a significant opportunity. I was offered a promotion as an intake worker in the field assistant program, and more recently, I've also become a certifier in the program. And I will say that one of my goals is continue learning and growing my English and professional abilities so I can take on bigger challenges. I am truly grateful for these experiences that I had here in GLCAC and the support I received through these programs, all of which have opened doors for me. Today, I am proud to be a staff member giving back to the same community that once helped me. These programs don't just assist people in the moment, they help build a future, and I'm living proof of that.
This is concrete example of our focused and investing in staff professional development and upper mobility. Thank you, Michelle, for that gift. So I have the honor to introduce our Congresswoman, Lori Trahan.
I have to follow Michelle?
Yes, but you're amazing. Come on. Congresswoman Lori Trahan proudly represents Massachusetts' 3rd Congressional District, which includes 35 cities and towns such as Lawrence, Methuen, Haverhill, and her hometown of Lowell. As a granddaughter of immigrants like many of us, Lori was raised in a working-class family. Her father working long, hard hours as a union iron worker, and her mother juggling part-time jobs while caring for her and her 3 sisters. So if someone knows about our struggle and could fight and represent us well in Capitol Hill, in Washington, everywhere she is at, it's Lori. She has been a dedicated advocate for issues that promote community development, economic opportunities, and improving the quality of life for individuals and families across Massachusetts. We are deeply grateful for her leadership during critical times, like the gas explosions, the COVID-19 pandemic, and today, helping us protect vital programs such as CSBG and LIHEAP that support our communities and protect community action. With you, Congresswoman Trahan.
Well, thank you, Velma, for that warm introduction as always, and for welcoming all of us here to the Greater Lawrence Community Action Center Council. It's great to be back. Michelle, keep telling your story. It touches all of our hearts. It reminds us why we're doing the work that we do. And before I begin, I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the devastating fire that the city experienced earlier this week. My heart goes out to all the families who were displaced and impacted by the fire, and certainly we have so much gratitude to the firefighters who bravely battled that blaze in extreme heat and were hospitalized. So I wish everybody a full and speedy recovery, and I know it reminds us of why organizations like this are so important in times like this that hit our community. Shifting back to why we are here today, I'm grateful not just to Velma and the entire team here at GLCAC, but to all the leaders from our community action agencies that span the 3rd District and the Merrimack Valley, specifically who are joining us today. Carl Howell from Community Teamwork, Kerry Perry from Community Action Inc., as well as Joan Diamond from MassCap and Betsy Andrews Parker from the Community Action Partnership of Stratford County. Each of you, along with your teams, you're all on the front lines in the fight to make sure that every person in our communities, regardless of their income, regardless of their zip code or circumstances, has the opportunity to live with dignity and stability. We're here today because the stakes for that fight just got even higher. Last month, Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress jammed through what they proudly called their big, beautiful bill. Of course, we rebranded that because we know how that's going to impact the people that we represent. It is one big, ugly bill. And let me tell you why that name fits. This legislation is an all-out assault on working families, on seniors, on children, people with disabilities, and it is a windfall for the wealthiest Americans and the biggest corporations in our country. Here's what it does. It kicks 14 million Americans off of their health care. It strips food assistance from millions more. It jeopardizes the future of our hospitals and our community health centers. And it will take more than $1,300 out of the pockets of the poorest 20% of Americans every year, while showering people making over $5 million annually with tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax breaks. That is not just morally bankrupt. It's economically backwards. You don't grow a strong economy by pulling the rug out from under working families. You do it by investing in them, by helping them weather hard times, by ensuring they have the resources to get back on their feet and move forward. But instead of investing in the American people, this bill robs them to pay for another round of tax cuts for billionaires and giant corporations who are already, frankly, doing just fine. And if that wasn't enough, the Trump administration is now doubling down with a budget proposal that would completely defund programs that are lifelines of our communities. Programs like the Community Services Block Grant and the Low-Income Home Energy Assistant Program, LIHEAP as we all know it. And let's be clear about what that would mean for the state of Massachusetts. Last year alone, the Community Services Block Grant delivered $75 million to our Commonwealth, funding services that help hardworking people overcome barriers to financial stability. Everything from job training, like you heard from Michelle, housing assistance, child care, emergency food programs. LIHEAP, meanwhile, helped more than 170,000 lower-income households in Massachusetts keep the heat on this past winter and the lights on year-round. Anyone who has spent a February here in Massachusetts knows just how critical that is and how dangerous it would be to take it away. But that's what Republican politicians in Washington are trying to do. They're defunding these programs, and it's not just cruel, it's short-sighted. Because when families can't afford their heat or their food or stable housing, the ripple effects hit our schools, it hits our hospitals, our local economies, our entire community. These programs are not handouts, they're hand-ups. They help people bridge through hard times, get back to work, and contribute to our shared prosperity. That's why I am so proud to be here with all of you today, people who understand these programs best, the community action agencies that have been saving our neighbors for decades. You see firsthand the difference that these investments make. You see the mom who can keep working because she has reliable child care. You see the senior who can stay in her home because she can pay her heating bill. You see the young person who lands a good job because they had access to training and support. And you also see what happens when those supports disappear, and it's devastating. And that's why our voices, your stories, your advocacy is so essential in this moment. We will continue to fight tooth and nail to protect these programs, and we will keep making the case so loudly and as often as we need to that the measure of our success as a nation is not how the wealthiest among us are doing, but how we treat those who are struggling the most. That fight won't be easy, but we have the truth on our side. We have the support of communities across our country. And as long as I have the privilege of representing this community in Congress, I will stand with you shoulder to shoulder to defend the programs that keep our neighbors housed, fed, and healthy and warm. So I want to thank you all again for being here today. I want to thank Velma and everyone at GLCAC for hosting us, and to all the leaders and advocates here today for everything you do to lift up our communities. I look forward to continuing this fight alongside all of you together. Thank you.
So I guess I will take over this introduction. We'd like to introduce Carrie. She is the Executive Director for Community Action Inc. in Haverhill, a sister organization, and we work very well together, all of us. So, Carrie, please come up.
Thank you, everybody, and good morning. My name is Carrie Sharon Perry. I'm the CEO of Community Action Inc. in Haverhill. Community Action Inc. is open for business. I'm grateful that you're here today. I'm grateful for Congresswoman Trahan's leadership here. I'm so grateful for my partners in crime behind you, our MassCap network. We really do work well together. We recognize that, a river runs through us, but it's really important that we work together to support the people on the ground here. And not only are we trusted organizations in the community, we are an economic engine in the community. Our energy program is supporting small family-owned businesses, oil vendors, and people who come into your house at 2 a.m. in February when your heat's not working. We support them. They trust us. Community Action has a network of 40 family-owned childcare homes. This is the workforce behind the workforce. This is how people go to work because they know their children are being cared for in a safe family environment. We have 40 of them. They are small women-owned businesses, and they are amazing. So the Community Service Block Grant, which is you're hearing about, my life is a bunch of letters. We call it CSBG, so I'm glad that we're explaining what the letters mean. All of our acronyms could just choke a horse. But the Community Service Block Grant is one of the most critical funds that we receive. It connects us as the 23 community action agencies. It connects us as the 1,000 community action agencies across the country. So what does it do? It allows community action to have a workforce development program, Make It Haverhill. That is another economic engine that is hosting in-person job fairs. We are getting people to work. People come to that door and say, my neighbor told me to come to you because they trust you. Let's go. Businesses come to us because they know we have people on the ground who want to work, who need to work, who want to support their families. They come through our door. We're able to connect them. It is magic. Magic, magic, magic. So how do our programs work together? Well, last year we got a no heat call from a gentleman. My team went out to see what was going on. He's a 96-year-old veteran. This sounds like I'm making up a story. I promise you this happened. 96-year-old veteran. My team gets in there. My auditor is also a veteran. He sits down with him. He's like, what's going on here? He was running a pellet stove for 20 years because he wanted to, or so he said. He was a proud, proud American who fought for us. So my team gets in there and realizes he has COPD. The pellet stove cannot happen. This is off the table. They also realized when they were in there, he didn't have a working hot water heater. He did not have a working toilet. He and his wife were living in this spot. But why was community action there? Because we are a trusted organization. We got the call and we went in. By 5 o'clock that day, one of our amazing family-owned businesses, oil vendors, was at the door, didn't want to get paid. We used CSBG funding to get a water heater and to get a working toilet and make sure he and his wife were living in dignity. That's CSBG money, unrestricted money coming in to pay for those. That's our heat program coming in to support the heat. That's how the magic happens. That is an economic engine, and I am so proud and so privileged to be part of it. So thank you for listening to me. CSBG sounds like an acronym. The Community Service Block Grant empowers the engines that support not just low-income community members who deserve to live in dignity, but our small businesses who rely on us too. Thank you.
This is why we make a good team. All right, so I'll introduce now Carl Howell. He is the Executive Director for Community Teamwork in Lowell.
Just this a little bit. Thank you. I just want to first off by thanking Congresswoman Lori Trahan, not just for being here today, but for standing up and speaking on behalf of the people who will be impacted by these cuts to the programs to our community. She's a tireless leader, an advocate that gives a voice to the most vulnerable in our district. Those are the families, the seniors, the veterans, and the youth who rely on these programs not just to survive, but to thrive. So you've heard the Congresswoman and my colleagues talk about why CSBG matters. It is a lifeline, as the Congresswoman said. It allows community teamwork to fulfill its mission as serving the greater Lowell region, as well as the 70+ communities in the Commonwealth that we support. It funds things like our resource center. That is our front door. That is the place where people come when they're in crisis or they need an opportunity. In the past year alone, our resource center was a lifeline to over 5,000 individuals, over 2,000 households, and connected just under 11,000 resources to community members that were in crisis. And that is all just being handled and distributed by just 4 staff. We heard someone talk earlier about the return on investment. There's not a lot of money when you talk about the federal, but what the return is and the support for our community, it's unrivaled. Also in our resource center, this is a place where people come, as Carrie had said, that they trust us. They come to our resource center because they get treated with compassion, respect, and dignity. That whether they're getting connected to housing resources, childcare, workforce development opportunities, or connected to vital resources like the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, or Mass Health. They are being treated with compassion. But CSBG goes beyond the basics. CSBG allows us the flexibility to meet the community's needs at the local level. It was essential to us creating our Youth Opportunity Center 6 years ago, where now, because of that funding, we were able to leverage other state and federal funding to grow a program that is now staffed by 30 people and serves hundreds of youth who are experiencing either housing instability or food insecurity. It is also a key resource that we're using to meet the community's need right now, where we are designing and standing up a women's focused response to housing insecurity in the city of Lowell. This funding is action. This funding is the action in community action. It allows us not just to assess the needs of our community, but also meet them and stand up, implement strategies to mitigate the hardships that those in our community face on a day-to-day basis. The stakes are also high for LIHEAP, as you've heard. Eliminating LIHEAP would force thousands of families, seniors, and veterans to choose between keeping their home safe and warm or putting food on the table. Last year, Community Teamwork in our region, we supported 13,000 people to ensure their house was safe and warm. We distributed over $9 million directly to our community. Those dollars don't just go to households, but they also go to small businesses in our community, like our local fuel companies, our small HVAC businesses, and other goods in our region. Today, we've heard this is a call to action. In closing, I'd like to thank MassCap, GLCAC, Community Action Inc., our community partners, and all of our colleagues around in community action across the state, and thanking them for the vital work that they do on a day-to-day basis to support the residents of the Commonwealth. But these are not just data points, as you heard Michelle's story. Michelle is our neighbor, our friend, and our family. Without CSBG and LIHEAP, we lose more than programs. We lose safety, stability, and the hope for the vulnerable people in our communities. I'm asking all of us here today and those watching at home, our community partners, our legislators, our advocates, to keep speaking up, to keep fighting, and to make sure these vital resources remain intact. Thank you very much.
Makes me so proud to be part of this network. Whew. Yes. Before I introduce Joe Diamond, the Executive Director for MassCap, I just wanted to take a moment to thank the media for being here in this space and making sure that our voices are transmitted over to thousands of people so that we can amplify our voices and our call to action. So thank you for being here today. We also I want to thank, I have an amazing board, by the way. Can I just brag? And we have board members and former state representative Christina Minicucci here with us, giving us her support, as well as former judge, he hates it when we call him judge, Mark Newman. They are two of our newest board members and most active ones. So thank you so much for showing your support to us today. Yes, they deserve it. They work really hard. Thank you. We have a representative from State Representative Ryan Hamilton's office. Is Luca Miller? He's an aide. Thank you so much for being here. Send our regards, please, to the state rep. All right, so I get to introduce our executive director extraordinaire for MassCap. He really is the one that's working alongside 23 community action? Yeah, just making sure I got that number right. 23 community actions across the state are really putting us together and coordinating a lot of this, helping us coordinate a lot of these press conferences and really leading the way. So thank you, Joe and Pam, for being here. So, Joe Diamond. Come on, I'm not gonna do that.
Thank you, Vilma. Thank you very much. I am the executive director. The adjective extraordinaire has never been added to that title, but I'm going to tell my wife about that. I thank you very much. Thank you for hosting. We're going to zoom out a little bit to Massachusetts, and then after me, Pam Kiesler, who's the president of our association from New Bedford, from PACE, will talk even more broadly about our work in the region. We are indeed here to urge that Congress protect the programs that protect our communities. I can't thank you enough, Congresswoman, for being here, and your leadership and your remarks are so powerful and so inspiring. And with you and through you to your colleagues, we urge that the FY26 budget that Congress is developing include these critical programs of community services, block grant, fuel assistance, and other programs like Head Start as well. I want to take a minute to thank some of our colleagues and friends who are here today in support. Michelle Hamowitz is here from the Head Start Association in Massachusetts. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us. Indeed, a very strong advocate. And Aisha Washington from our agency in Boston, Action for Boston Community Development, is here. Thank you, Aisha, for joining us. ABCD and the agencies represented today, along with the other agencies, are the group that is the MassCap Association of 23. There are 1,000 across the country. I want to say that there have been many themes that have been struck this morning that I won't repeat. But I do want to note that it's important to remember that community action was created over 60 years ago to fight poverty, to eliminate the paradox of poverty amidst plenty in the richest country in the world. We've made progress. There have been fits and starts, and now we're facing probably the most stressful, if not dangerous time in the life, I think, of the Republic in terms of our ability to organize ourselves and help each other. The community action agencies across the state, whom we support, and it's our honor to do so, provide over 100 different services. CSBG allows us to blend those services, to integrate those services for folks like Michelle and others. And it is the power of that integration that Carl has spoken about, that Vilma has spoken about, and Carrie has spoken about, that really talks about the kind of ripple effect that Community Services Block Grant offers. We're going to hear in a moment about the way that the Community Services Block Grant actually brings in so much more in terms of resources and help to a community than what it represents in a pure number, a pure dollar number. The other aspect of CSBG, which has been alluded to as well, is that it allows organizations like GLCAC, CTI, PACE, CAI, ABCD, and many others to be leaders in their communities, to react to local challenges, to meet emergent needs that might last or they may not last. We remember the gas crisis here in Lawrence. GLCAC, along with other allied organizations, came to the table and was so very helpful and so very responsive. And that is what's built into the DNA of community action agencies through the Community Services Block Grant. You have heard Michelle's story. There are so many other stories about people who have been helped when it comes to living in their apartments with rental assistance, people who have gotten food assistance through the support of Community Services Block Grant. Early education and care, of course, is enabled by CSBG, and so many other programs, including our ability to help people access the important tax credits like the Earned Income Tax Credit that is so powerful. So for me, what I want to also stress is that it's important that we, Community Action, the people that we serve, our boards, and of course we're anchored in the community by our boards, that we support congresspeople like Congresswoman Trahan who are helping us. We need to make sure that they hear our voice, hear our voices of support, and hear about why these programs are so important. We must not be silent. So today, we actually are issuing a call to action and a very straightforward approach. Where you to go to, folks across the state, go to MassCap's website. At the very top of the page is a button that's a call to action button, which will take you to a place where you can very quickly send this information to your congressperson. Now, Congresswoman Trahan is a leader in this state, of course course, we know you have our back.
We're answering the phone.
Indeed. And while we know that our congressional delegation is behind us, and for the most part in New England, they must hear us. They cannot operate in a vacuum. So we are asking that folks urge and tell our congresspeople how important these programs are, and that they be included in the FY26 budget. So it's my pleasure to be here. I want to thank you again, Vilma. Thank you, Congresswoman, very much.
Thank you, Joe.
And you introduced Pam.
Am I going to? Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce Pam Kiesler, who is the Executive Director of PACE, People Acting in Community Endeavors, in New Bedford. And she's also the president of MassCap. She's going to talk a little bit more about New England, and it's really a pleasure to work with Pam as our president. I think we steal all the time.
Always a risk when I come behind all the tall people. So I just want to start off by really thanking Congresswoman Trahan for being here today and being such an ardent advocate for community action agencies. And days like today, I am just always awed by my colleagues and the stories that they have to tell, because this is really the through line of all of the work that we do. And as they all alluded to, there are so many different ways in which we're able to utilize the Community Services Block Grant funding to really tie together important resources to those that are most vulnerable in our community. I want to, again, thank the partners that are in the room, and particularly Michelle from Head Start. We're really fortunate that because we are agencies that are supported through Community Services Block Grant, we have the ability to serve families across the age span, from children straight up through our seniors who have worked so hard all their lives and who might just need a little bit of help. And so that flexibility, as Carl alluded to, really plays a critical role, and we are able to base the funding that we receive on the immediate needs in our communities. So just to give you a little bit of context in terms of, you've heard people talk about us being an economic driver and being able to provide a return on investment. We really found that Community Services Block Grant really allows us to leverage so much more, so that we are able to make a much more comprehensive set of services for folks. Nationally, we have, for every dollar of CSBG funds that are leveraged, that are spent, we leverage $20.95. Regionally, that goes up to $48.57. That's our average here in the New England area. In Massachusetts, the statistic is for every dollar of CSBG funds spent, we are able to leverage $74. Now, if you think about that just in terms of what we're able to do to pull in additional resources, to provide an economic benefit to our communities, it's an incredible investment made in our communities, as well as providing opportunities so that members of our community can move forward to become full participants in the economies. In addition, just to give you a little bit of context in terms of the numbers of folks that we've served across the state. Across the state of Massachusetts, we have been able to serve almost 600,000 folks. And Community Services Block Grant is the critical piece that allows us to do that. So in closing, I just want to thank you all for being here today, and to really encourage you to take our call to action and take advantage of telling your stories. For those of you watching that may have had an opportunity to participate in our services, tell your stories. I think we hear from our delegation often about how important it is to know exactly what the impact is, and that is critical. And so we appreciate all of your support and all of the efforts that are put in, and thank you to my colleagues for your stories today. We really appreciate for everyone being here today. Thanks.
Hugs are comforting for me. I'm a person, everybody that knows me knows that I love hugging and I love giving you a kiss because I mean it. It's a nice way to show love. I get to close the program with the press conference. Obviously, after this we close, we're going to have a few moments for the media to ask questions. But we wanted to send you off with a message. So we ask you to join the Massachusetts Network of Community Action Agencies. We need to make sure that we are all together and calling for the inclusion of this Community Services Block Grant. Learn that language, CSBG. You're fighting for CSBG. And you're also fighting for LIHEAP, which is our program that provides fuel assistance to the people in most need. We need to make sure that those funds are there for the FY26 budget, which starts in October 1st. So let's all do what Joe Diamond suggested and go online. Go into just Google MASCAP, MASSCAP. And you're going to find that on that page where you can actually elevate not only your voice, but the voices of those that we serve. I know that my family and cousins and second cousins, a lot of my family members have taken advantage of the services that this agency provides. And that adds to my pride of being here at the helm of the organization to continue to serve the people that need our services. We're grateful to the U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee for including our important programs in their budget recommendation. I just saw it on July 31st. However, that is not all that is needed to protect and maintain them. We need our representatives and senators to continue to fight for us in D.C. And if Congresswoman Trahan leaves here today, we hope that we are representing all the cheerleading that she needs in order to continue, because it must be exhausting for them to do the work that they're doing in the environment that they're in right now. So please know that we are very grateful, and we're going to be here cheering you on and sharing our voices and elevating the voices of those who you need to hear from. We urge you and your colleagues to continue to prioritize these programs that are vital to our constituents. To our communities and clients, we ask you to join our efforts. Again, MASCAP has created the webpage mascap.org/takeaction. Well, with just a few clicks, takes literally 2 minutes, you can send a pre-written email. I mean, we even made it easy for you. It's pre-written. It goes directly to our representatives, urging them to support the Community Services Block Grant, CSBG, and LIHEAP in the FY26 federal budget. We all have their responsibility to protect the programs that protect our communities. So I want to thank you. We're going to take a group picture before the Congresswoman leaves. I think we have to leave soon. And then we'll just encourage the media if you have any questions to answer. Do you want us to do the questions first, or? Okay. So does the media have any questions for us? For the Congresswoman?
Bien, we're working with Telemundo, so I would like that somebody explain in Spanish exactly why this is going
I
on
got
for
you.
the community.
I got you. I'll be happy to meet with you afterwards. Yes, absolutely. All right, so no questions. I gave you a time. So we're going to take a quick group picture before the Congresswoman leaves. But thank you so much. And let me just say thank you to my staff, because I am as good as that skillful staff that's behind us. So all 320 of you, thank you.